Happy Saturday, guys. Today, this workout is 10 rounds for time of 9 med ball squat cleans, 6 deficit push-ups, and 3 deadlifts. The class had a 30-minute time cap on this one, so you can use that to kind of judge when you should be finishing. You want to think about 3 minutes per round, ideally, for each round to be able to finish within the 30 minutes, and you should be able to finish slightly below 30 minutes, I would say. Depends again what kind of weights you got at home. For the deadlifts, this workout is mainly focused on the deadlifts. If you have something that's heavy, like a sandbag, that would be perfect to use for your deadlifts, even if you don't have a bar at home. For the deficit push-ups, guys, try to find something a little bit elevated off the floor so you can go a little deeper in the bottom of your push-up. Or you can increase your progression. So if you've been going off your knees, let's try and go off our toes this time. Make it a little challenging for those push-ups here. And then med ball squat cleans. You don't have to have a med ball for this. If you have some kind of object that's around 15 to 20 pounds, and you can comfortably clean it up and get into your front rack and get to the bottom of the squat, you should be using that for your med ball squat cleans for today. So main focus, deadlifts. Secondary focus, I would say pick one of the movements, the push-ups or the squat cleans, to kind of a little bit challenge yourself on the strength or the endurance side. So if you want to work a little bit more on the leg endurance, guys, try to push yourself to go unbroken for those 9. For the deficit push-ups, as I mentioned earlier, try to increase your progression. Try and go a little bit more than you're used to doing in workouts for push-ups for the deficit push-ups in this workout. This is all about the legs for this one, so rest in peace your legs. You're gonna feel your quads getting tight, your glutes are gonna slowly start to get tight in this one. A good sore, a good tightness in the workout. So if you notice that during the workout, you're doing this one right and you pick the progressions correctly. I would say the only thing to watch out for is if you find yourself you're going past 3 minutes per round, then I would start thinking about decreasing your progressions, bringing your weights down. First thing would be your deadlifts. Try to bring that weight down if you find that's taking you really the longest to do. And then the deficit push-ups or the squat cleans, take the weight down or make the progression a little bit easier so you can stay within that 3-minute time cap. Once you finish that workout, guys, we have some accessory work on the upper body. We're going 5 sets, 5 and 5 single arm strict press. Then we're going 5 and 5 single arm flies. So again, I've done this one in the past. See if you can use some different kinds of weights. If you don't have different weights, try using different objects which will give you some different kind of torque on your shoulders to really be working on those stability muscles, getting yourself nice and strong to help you continue on with your workouts and stay nice and healthy in those shoulders. So make sure you get after that one after you finish this workout. Overall, hope you enjoy the workout and the afterburner today. We'll see you next for the warm-up video.
Hey guys, we're going to go over the warm-up now. We're going to start with 2 minutes of good morning. So this is accumulated. You can do 1 minute, take a rest, do another minute, or you can do 20 seconds, 10-second rest. Just make sure the rest doesn't count. You want 2 minutes in total of this. You can do this with a PVC pipe, nothing heavy. We're really focusing on the hips and that posterior chain. So you're gonna hinge at the hips, keep those knees as straight as you can, and here you're gonna squeeze those glutes to come up. So again, push the hips back. You can have a micro bend in the knees, but keep them as straight as you can. That way you'll feel a stretch in the hamstrings, and then you're gonna squeeze your glutes to come back up. Again, accumulate 2 minutes of that. After you're done with the 2 minutes, we're gonna do 3 rounds of 16 alternating jackknives. You're gonna come down to the floor. We're gonna come into that nice and hollow position, and we're gonna go for 16 alternating jackknives where you bring one leg at a time. Don't let that low back come off the ground. Maintain that nice hollow. Break them out as you have to. Afterwards, you're gonna grab an object. You're gonna bring it in that nice front rack position, and we're gonna go for 8 and 8 alternating front rack lunges. So you're gonna go for 8 in total, and then you're gonna switch the arms, and you're gonna go for 8 more. We're going here for core stability in that front rack position. Don't let the knee pass your ankle. Push through the heel to come back up. When you're done with those, we're gonna go for some Turkish get up with a press, 4 and 4. Again, you want something light here. You're gonna come up into that Turkish sit-up. While you're up here, you're gonna bring that kettlebell or object down and go for a press, and then come back down and repeat for 4 on one side and then 4 on the other side. See you in the workout.
With the push-ups here, guys, again, let's try and keep that nice tight hollow body, stay nice and straight the entire time. So with that said, let's not sag those hips, keep that butt tight, and then we're curling in that rib cage, keeping the abs tight. For the push-up here, I like to keep those elbow pits, or the inside elbow pits facing out in front of me. So I don't want them to face inwards. I like to keep them facing out in front, so that when I break at the elbows, I'm keeping my elbows already nice and tight to my body. So that's a good cue for yourself, especially also when you're coming up. You want to think about pointing those elbow pits back out again. So you guys can do your push-ups off those toes. You guys can do a push-up where you come down and then rock back up from the knees, then to the toes. It's kind of like a kipping push-up there. That's totally fine, as long as you're keeping that core nice and tight. Last thing, you can also try going off those knees. Just one error I see sometimes with these knee push-ups, guys, is that we keep our hips bent and then come down and push up like this. I want you to keep yourself nice and straight. So from your knees to your shoulders should be one straight line, come all the way down, and then back up again.
A single arm deadlift, we like to place that item in between the feet. So your deadlift width is going to be about where you squat. You can go a little bit wider if you want to get into that sumo stance. That's totally fine as well. And what I want you guys to think about here is we're going to think about that hip hinge. So I'm going to think about pushing that hip back and then drawing my hips down after that. You can see my shin is still perpendicular to the ground. So the difference if I was squatting is my shin would be going a little bit forward. I actually want to push that hip back a little bit, get my hip up in the air a little bit, and then I'm going to hold on to my object. Pushing with the legs, opening with that hip, we're going to push that hip back, and then lower the object again with those legs. I want you guys to squeeze your butt at the top, make sure the abs are tight. Sometimes when we squeeze our butt, we tend to overarch. Let's make sure we don't do that. Also notice how my head and neck stay nice and neutral. So when I'm at the bottom of that deadlift, I'm not looking straight, I'm not looking down, but I'm kind of looking just maybe a couple feet out in front of me. I want the top of my head to my tailbone to stay in a nice and straight line. If you guys have the mobility and you find it easier or a different type of challenge perhaps, to stick to your normal deadlift position, so feet under that hip, and we're just going to keep that dumbbell or kettlebell outside the stance. It makes it a little bit trickier, but it might be a good challenge for you today to do that as long as you keep that back nice and flat. That's the most important part.
All right, so we're here for the afterburner, 5 sets, 5 and 5 strict press, and then 5 and 5 single arm flies. So I got a dumbbell and a plate here. You guys can use whatever you have at home. Keep it light for the first couple rounds so you can really feel the upper back and use the proper muscles before you start getting heavy with this. So I'm going to demo with the 5-pound plate here. For the strict presses and the flies today, guys, let's try and focus on the positioning of our scap. So it's very common with the press, for example, to kind of almost overreach with that shoulder. So we're kind of pushing that shoulder out of its socket. I want you to keep the shoulder down. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge if you haven't done this or thought about this before, but keep the shoulder down. Think about pulling the shoulder blades towards each other, so squeezing them together to set that shoulder. Then from there, only just drive through that elbow as you go up and controlling the way down as you come down. Just make sure that shoulder is not moving out of its place. Kind of think of that as its foundation. Keep that foundation nice and strong. So holding it down with those lats, that's serratus, keeping it in that proper position, and then only just using that elbow to extend that weight overhead there. 5 reps there, guys, and then 5 reps on the opposite side. Feel free to use any position, so you can sit on the floor, legs straight, or in a straddle position. You guys can try anything for that strict press. For the flies, same idea here, guys. Might be a little bit harder to notice, but sometimes when you try to lift that weight up and it's a little bit too heavy, we almost want to use a little bit more of the traps to kind of lift it up to compensate. So again, right before you start, squeeze those shoulder blades together, keep that scap down, and then keep a slight bend in the elbow. Don't worry about keeping it nice and straight at first. Slight bend in the elbow, lift as high as you can while keeping that shoulder blade down, and then back down again. If it's only up to here, don't worry about going up in weight. Just try to see if you can go up a little bit higher each time without letting that shoulder roll forward or in any direction. So keep that nice and stable, and then increase your range of motion. Once you're comfortable getting it up to that shoulder height at least, then you guys can go up in weight. Same thing as you can do it from a bent over position. So I'll bend over at the hips, slight bend in the elbow there, and then I'm going to think about pulling that weight out to the side. While I do that, I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together and making sure I'm not shrugging forward. I'm keeping the shoulder blade down. So enjoy this one, guys. 5 and 5 reps on each side. Great unilateral work to work on that balance of the strength on both sides. Increase in weight if it feels good. If not, just work on the positioning of the shoulder blades. See you guys tomorrow for the next workout.